guys. Ooh, that was rough. Hey guys, it's early in the morning. It's my day off. I feel like I haven't had one in forever, but that's not really true. It's just how it feels. I'm still half asleep. Good morning.
So today my boyfriend is out with his best friend. They're going fishing and I decided to stay home to try to get some more of my plant starts in the ground because we're supposed to have some good rain coming up this week. I've had to get a little creative with where I'm putting my plants because we have not been able to get a tiller or get any more ground cleared up in the space that we wanted to put the garden. So for right now, I'm just sticking plants in where I can. Also been harvesting some Florida buttony tubers to plant up later. I'm letting them dry off right now. These are too old to eat. But I'm thinking about sending some out to Jessica Sowers at Roots and Refuge Farm. She was talking about some Chinese artichokes, which are very similar, but these grow a lot faster. So I was thinking about sending some out to her so she could try these on her farm, but also keeping some for myself so that I can plant them in containers, keep better control of where they are. I want to take you around and show you some of the places I've been planting today, and something else it was a surprise to me anyway. Okay, so in this little bed up against my garden shed, I've pulled out all of the kale except for this one. They just got really taken over by the bugs. I think I waited too long to try to eat any. And you know, it's time to put other stuff in. So I started ripping them up, just kind of pulling them out and dropping them, feed the soil, you know. I put some of my tomato plants in here, and at first it didn't look like they were doing anything, but they've definitely grown, and this one is trying to put off some little flowers. This is the purple variety, and I think this is Kellogg's Breakfast. I can't be sure because I didn't label. And then this back here is a big clump of tomatoes sprouts because I put an old tomato in the ground and it sprouted. These are my kohlrabi, and I'm not sure if it's too late in the season for them, but they are starting to bulb up here, so I'm going to keep them and see what happens. There's some Swiss chard that didn't come up until I started pulling the kale out. I don't know that it'll do anything, but it's there. I put 2 of my new squash starts in here. Hopefully they'll do something, and a few of my peppers that weren't doing so well. We'll see. But look at my cilantro. I really thought this was all gonna die, and I'm so excited to finally have some going. Here are some more seeds that I started, I don't know, a week or so ago. This is some spinach. A lot of these seeds are having a hard time going, and I think I'm just not watering them enough. I don't know. Some basil and some thyme. The rest of them haven't really come up at all. Little update on my worm bin slash compost bin. We haven't got a lot of rain, but this has gone down a lot. If you guys remember me cutting that stuff up and throwing it in there. So we'll just keep adding to it. So this little garden is actually showing signs of life. It's definitely getting weedy. I'm gonna have to do some weeding, but everything's so small right now, it just makes it really difficult. But my tomato plants seem to be bouncing back, most of them anyway. Looking really nice and green. The labels have been bleached off, so I have no idea what varieties I'm growing. I can tell the purple ones just by their leaf shape. And if you can see here, I've got some ant beds coming up in here. All of these tomatoes look really nice. Getting some flower buds and everything. These are coming back to life on this side as well. It's nice to see. Some of my squash and cucumbers have started, you know, trying. This one looks like it's probably gonna die, but there's a new sprout there. These guys are starting to look green again and feeling strong. That's so exciting. I really want some squash. Well, I really want some of all this stuff. Put another one of my starts in here earlier and it's already wilting. There's not enough moisture in the ground, I guess, but this is rooted into the ground there. and coming up over here. So still have a few things in cups and pots that need to get in the ground. Here's a bunch of new okra that I started. I'm going to be finding a place for them either today or tomorrow, or as soon as I get around to it. This was peppers. None of those have come up yet. Here's some more tomatoes. A lot of them did not come up, and some of them, I think, what's the word, tamped off or something, where they die at the base of the plant where the root starts. So we're just gonna wait and see how this goes. Okay, so over here along the back of the house, my boyfriend told me yesterday that when he was clearing all this out and cleaning it up several months ago, he pulled out a giant tomato plant. He called it a tomato tree. He said there were tomatoes on it and everything, and he just ripped it out without even thinking about it, and then afterwards was like, why did I just do that? So we were hoping it would come back, or at least some of the tomatoes that were on it would sprout, and we found some yesterday. I'm not even sure how the tomato seeds got back here in the first place. Maybe somebody threw a tomato out. But I did find several tomato plants going. Now, I would say that they probably won't do very well, but the one that he pulled out, like he said, was like a tree. It had a trunk on it. Here's another one. And I'm not going to step all the way through here, but there's another one there and a couple more in there. So since everything was doing, not everything, since the tomato plant seemed to love this spot, I decided to try planting some of my starts over here. And I know everything's planted close together, but these guys were gonna die if I didn't do something anyway, so it's just kind of an experiment. But I've got a few squash planted out here, some tomatoes, another squash there, and then I also put 2 watermelon seedlings that were dying off. And then along this side, the weeds were doing really well over here, so I thought I would give it a try in this spot too. So this is some more, I think this is cucumber actually, and it'll be able to grow up this, that's what I'm hoping for anyways, 2 tomato varieties and some peppers, and we'll see how well they do on this little corner of the house, because it gets sun, a decent amount of sun most of the day, and it keeps moisture well also. There's one more place that I decided to try, and the reason for this is because of what I saw at work. So at work, behind the building, is the septic. Is that the right word? Septic. You know, the mounds where you have septic tanks or whatever. And we had a massive volunteer tomato grouping, basically. I think someone threw out their lunch, and it just was absolutely thriving there. The trunk on this thing was about this big around, and there were fruits all over it. And I asked my boss not to mow it down when I saw him mowing, so I could try to get some fruit off of it. Unfortunately, it froze before they were ripe. But I decided, since we have a septic here also, and the plants growing around it look a lot, or the weeds growing around it look so much better than things not around it. Sorry, words are not working today. I would try putting some of my seedlings next to ours and see how well they do. So again, most of these seedlings were basically dying off, and I know they're planted too close, but you know what? When volunteers happen, they don't care how close they are, they just grow. So these were all in this pot together, sugar baby watermelons, and I just stuck them here. This is the top to the septic area, and we'll see. And then on this side, I've got some cantaloupe, peppers, and another of the purple Cherokee tomato growing alongside, so that the cement stops here, and then I just dug a little bit off, and like, it's all nice and lush, the weeds and everything, so I'm hoping that this will basically feed my vegetables. In case any of you are concerned, Humanure is a thing. I'm pretty sure it's going to be safe to eat any fruit that comes off that, but before I do, I'll always do my due diligence, do research before I eat anything that I'm not sure of. I also did some work trying to reorganize all my house plants that I have outside that are going to spend the summer outside, probably go back in the shed over winter. I had them outside. They're looking very, very unhappy and ugly. And this happened with the couple that I had last year. I don't know if it's the rain, I don't know what it is, or it's too much sun for them. There's a lot of browning. They don't look great, but I had to get them organized and out of the way because my boyfriend does mow and weed eat back here. So I kind of just moved them up against the shed anyway. I'll show you what I'm talking about. I know everything is gross and dirty, but that's just how things are. These are two like fiberglass shower walls or whatever, and I just put them up against the shed on the back side of the shed because these are houseplants. They prefer shade, you know, indirect sunlight. So I didn't put them on the other side where my veggies are because I don't want them to burn to death. And it looks like it was already starting to happen on a lot on several of these plants. So I just kind of, you know, it's a sad mess, you guys. It really is. But I'm doing what I can. Now, some of these plants are extremely happy. Like my Hoya is loving life right now. My ficus Audrey is loving life right now. My bird's nest fern, loving it. Some of them are very unhappy, like my monstera. A lot of my pothos are very angry with me. Several things have died off, so it looks pretty ugly and messy, but I'm doing what I can with the energy that I have and hoping for the best. So I wasn't understanding why my seedlings were struggling so much. It just wasn't making sense to me, and I was getting frustrated. And then a few nights ago, we had a couple of nights in a row that it got down to the mid 40s at night, and I was like, you know what, that's the problem right there. I was so excited about spring getting here and thinking, all right, it's gonna get hot quick, I need to get these guys planted and get them in the ground and all that stuff. It wasn't time yet. It was not time yet, especially for tomatoes and peppers and, you know, summer loving plants. You're supposed to wait until nighttime temperatures don't fall below 50, and I didn't wait. So they suffered, but like I said, they seem to be bouncing back. Now I'm gonna have a lot of loss, but I think I'll also get some, I'll get some fruit this year, and I'm really excited about that. We have yet to burn this pile, though we did burn a pile on the other side of the property last night. We're not gonna get to be able to till this probably. If we do, it's probably going to be the middle of summer, and I'll still plant stuff. I have, you know, I love planting things, so it'll probably still happen. But for now, like I said, in an attempt to save the plants I already have, I am sticking them anywhere and everywhere I can find space, and I'm really hoping that, like the ones over by the septic area, the ones by the back of the house where the volunteers were growing so amazingly. I don't understand, because I walk this property all the time just to see what's going on. If there's a new plant that I haven't seen around here, if there's a new bug I haven't seen around here, I walk the property. How did I not see a tomato tree growing along the back of the house? How did I not notice tomato fruits? I don't know. I thought I was pretty observant, but I somehow missed that. These little guys are popping up all over the yard, and it throws me every single time because they look a lot like pepper plants, especially when they're first coming up. But as they get bigger, I remember what they are, and these are the marvel of something. Anyway, it puts off really pretty flowers, and I like having them around. They've spread a lot since 2 years ago when I first noticed them. We also have elderberry absolutely everywhere, all over this property, and I love it. But because they all got chopped back so harshly, we don't have a whole lot of blooms on them, and the ones that I've seen just along the roadsides and stuff and other people's yards growing wild have started to bloom. So I think it'll take a little longer for us to get berries on the ones that we've cut back, but I'm hoping that it'll be a bigger harvest. We do have some up there, if you can see that, the little white bunches of flowers. Those are all elderberries, and all those will turn into berries probably here in a couple months. We've got the muscadine grapes coming back. That's exciting. I tried those for the first time last year, and I actually really liked them. Got blackberry canes everywhere. We've got different kinds of berries. So like these I know are blackberries because they grow in upright canes, but we also have like the sprawling kind that put off a lot smaller berries. And then we have the kind that just crawl along the ground as well and just put off little tiny blackberries. There's also lots of wisteria in here and junk that still needs to be cleaned out. Look at all the grapevines though. Can you see all that? Just grapevines everywhere. This is actually one of his dad's old worm bins. He used to have a bunch of them out here in the property in this whole area that's now completely overgrown. That white thing right there was another worm bin, and several of them are set up inside of this stuff. So this is a worm bin, another worm bin. So apparently he did a lot of gardening, and most of the trees, fruit trees and just regular trees and the rose bushes and some of the grapes and stuff that are on this property are from him. So I think that's pretty cool. The pollinators are out today. They're everywhere. So I woke up this morning, I was trying not to wake up this morning when my alarm clock went off, 6:30, because I have it set for Saturdays because I work every other Saturday, but I was off today, and my brain just would not let me go back to sleep. As soon as I hit that snooze button or turn the alarm off, my brain's like, we need chickens. And I'm like, no, we don't need chickens. We don't have anywhere to put chickens right now. I can't afford to care for chickens right now. And I tried to doze back off, and my brain goes, we need to get some hogs, and we can keep them in this back corner. They'll clear all this out, and then we can have bacon. No, we don't need hogs. We don't need pigs. Can't afford that. Can't do anything with it. We don't have any fencing. We don't have electric. We don't have anything that we need to do that right now, Kristy. So just go back to sleep. Dozed off again. We could go ask the neighbors to borrow their goats for a week or so, and they could come out here and clear this stuff out for us. We're not borrowing the neighbors' goats. We don't even know the neighbors. And you know you don't have it in you to go ask them that, so just leave it alone, go back to sleep. But my brain would not listen. It would not shut off. So I got up, came outside, and started planting things in the ground. This is the biggest mulberry tree on the property. It's massive. Last year was absolutely loaded with berries. This year the birds won't stay off of it, and it started putting off berries like 2 or 3 times that were promptly taken out by the freeze. There are some berries. We may get some sort of a harvest if we can get the birds to leave them alone, or it doesn't even really matter. But it was so heavy laden with fruit last year that all these branches that you see were touching the ground. They were just so heavy from all the fruit, and I was really hoping for another harvest like that this year, but it doesn't look like it's gonna happen. So that mulberry tree, I believe, is a native. It's like the black mulberry, but I found this one the other day and nobody even knew that it was here. Growing in this old wheelbarrow along with one of the crepe myrtle cuttings that my boyfriend took years ago and stuck in here. Actually, there's a couple of them. No, I think it's the same one. Anyway, there was this tree we thought was a weed, but it's not. This is another variety of mulberry. It's the white variety, and these were used for silk production in the 1800s, something like that. They use them in China, and we tried to start a, I guess, silk industry here in America, and it failed. But yeah, so these are the white mulberries, and it looks like it's going to be putting off fruit this year. Also making a comeback this year are our banana trees. So this was our original banana tree. It froze, and this year we have 3 pups coming off of it, so that's pretty exciting. That's the smallest, second smallest here, and then the biggest one right here. So I'm really hoping that maybe we'll get some bananas this year. That would be so awesome. I think this is a really good spot for it because this little trench here holds a lot of water when it rains, and I know bananas need a lot of water, so I think that's a good spot for it. Okay, that's gonna be it for this video, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me, walking around the property and checking things out. I need to get back into the swing of making videos. I don't know why it's been so difficult. I know that the bulk of my more recent videos have all been houseplant related, and since all that has kind of failed and taken a back burner to everything else I've been doing, which I still haven't told you guys about, I kind of stopped doing videos. But hopefully I'll get back into it. So I'm going to end this one here so I can start editing and get it out for you guys. Thanks again for hanging out, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.